What if I told you that the single most powerful tool you have for transforming your daily interactions, well, it costs absolutely nothing, and it takes less than a second to use? Today, we're going to dive into that very idea, pulled straight from the timeless wisdom of Dale Carnegie.
Just think about this for a second. Carnegie is basically telling us that our most valuable asset for making a good impression isn't something we can buy. It's something we broadcast. It's not about the fancy clothes we wear, but about the genuine warmth that comes from our face.
Okay, so is this just a nice, feel-good idea, or does it actually have real-world, tangible value? To answer that, let's look at the story of a man whose smile was, and I mean this quite literally, worth $1 million. So meet Charles Schwab. He was one of the great titans of industry back in the day, and he famously claimed his smile was worth $1 million. Now, he wasn't just being dramatic. Schwab was absolutely convinced that his ability to make people genuinely like him was the bedrock of his incredible success. And his number one tool for that? You guessed it, that $1 million smile. That's great for a natural charmer like Schwab, right? But what if that's not you? What if smiling feels, well, kind of forced? This brings us to a really fascinating story about a man who was the total opposite of Schwab, and the little personal challenge he set for himself that ended up changing, well, everything. All right, let's head over to the bustling streets of New York to meet a stockbroker named William B. Steinhardt. Now, he's the star of this story, but probably not for the reasons you'd think. He wasn't some charismatic leader. Actually, he was pretty much the opposite. I mean, listen to how he described himself. For over 18 years, he almost never smiled at his own wife and barely said more than a few words to her each morning. By his own admission, he was a total sourpuss. But then something shifted. One morning, Steinhardt looked at what he called his own glum mug in the mirror and just decided he'd had enough. He made a commitment right then and there to run an experiment in happiness. He was going to wipe that scowl off his face. Now, his plan looks deceptively simple, doesn't it? Smile at his wife. Smile at the doorman. Easy. But you have to remember, for a guy who had spent nearly 2 decades perfecting his scowl, each one of these steps was a huge effort. This was a conscious, deliberate attempt to completely reprogram his entire way of being. So what happens when the worst grouch on Broadway starts smiling? Well, the results were immediate and honestly, nothing short of revolutionary. This wasn't some slow burn. It was like an instant explosion of positivity in every single part of his life. As you can probably guess, the first person to notice was his wife, and her reaction was priceless. Steinhardt said she was completely shocked, and that was a massive understatement. He had to promise her it wasn't a joke, that this was the new him, and this cheerful greeting was here to stay. And this change didn't just stop at his front door. Oh no, he took it with him all day long. He found that the doorman, the cashier, even the toughest-nails traders on the stock exchange floor, they all started smiling back. It created this amazing, positive feedback loop. His smile generated smiles, which in turn made his work and his whole day way easier. And here's the bottom line, literally. This wasn't just about feeling good. Steinhardt found a direct financial connection. As he put it himself, his smiles were bringing him dollars, many dollars, every single day. His cheerful attitude became a real, tangible business asset. Steinhardt's own words really say it all, don't they? He completely transformed his life. He went from a grouch to a man who was rich in the only things that truly matter, friendship and happiness. And it all started with that one simple, conscious action. This all sounds great, but let's be real for a second. What do you do if you just don't feel like smiling? I mean, forcing it feels fake, right? Well, there's actually a fascinating psychological reason why this works. It's called the action-feeling loop, and it's the science behind Steinhardt's success. The philosopher William James figured out that while you can't just decide to feel happy out of thin air, you can decide to act happy. It's like priming a pump. The action of smiling, of sitting up straight, of speaking cheerfully, it actually signals your brain and body to start generating that happy feeling. And what this really gets at is a huge truth. Our happiness isn't really dictated by what's going on around us. It's dictated by what's going on inside us. It's not what you have or where you are. It's all about what you think. By choosing the action of smiling, you're also choosing the thought that goes with it. You know, like Shakespeare said centuries ago, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And hey, this isn't some new age idea. There's an ancient Chinese proverb that just nails it. This is timeless, universal wisdom. A pleasant face, a smile, it's fundamental to success, whether you're running a business or just trying to get through your day.
And it is so important to remember, the effect isn't just about you. Think about all the people you see every day. The person making your coffee, the delivery driver, your colleague. For someone who's under pressure, who's already dealt with a dozen scowls that day, your smile can be a powerful gift. It can be that one little thing that helps them realize that maybe things aren't so hopeless after all.
So here's the real takeaway. You have the power to start your own experiment right now. You don't need to wait for a special occasion. You can begin, just like William Steinhardt did, the very next time you look in the mirror. Just ask yourself this question. What could you change starting this very second with just a smile?